A Minnesota woman is fighting for herself and others after being injured by how a vaccine was administered.
Now, to be clear, this is not an anti or pro-vaccine story. It's about how a shot is properly given. It's also about federal compensation and education so that no one has to suffer the pain and financial loss that Lori Schlosser did. Here's Fox 9's Karen Sculln.
Getting a quick jab to prevent illness or disease, basic stuff. But when Lori Schlosser went for her COVID vaccine, she had no idea what was about to happen.
When I woke up the next morning, I had intense pain from the side of my neck down to my hand, and pretty unbearable and almost no range of motion.
And that began the downward spiral. Lori is a yoga teacher and therapist, and she was struggling to work. The pain so bad, day-to-day life was almost impossible.
Couldn't lift a coffee cup, couldn't hold a hairbrush, couldn't put on any shirts that required me lifting my arms overhead. So really going from active yoga, golf, gardening every day to almost no use of my right arm.
While doctors blamed her pain on aging or an unrelated injury, a nurse saw Lori's bruise on her shoulder and immediately noticed her vaccine had been injected too high into her shoulder joint rather than the deltoid muscle. After some research, Lori believed her injury was related to vaccine administration. Shoulder injuries caused by improperly placed vaccine injections are known as SIRVA. Of those who get SIRVA, 2/3 eventually recover. 1/3 do not and live with a permanent disability and pain. It's common enough that the federal government added it to the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program in 2017.
So they passed what's known as the National Childhood Vaccine Act of 1986. And what it does is it puts a 75-cent excise tax on every dose of vaccine sold that's eligible to be administered to a child. So every time, let's say like Merck or Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson sells a dose of a vaccine that's eligible to be given to a child, they have to pay a 75-cent tax on that dose, and that's what funds the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program.
But attorney David Alholm, who handles 25 to 30 SIRVA cases a year, says that fund does not cover COVID vaccines.
COVID never has been taxed for it, and that's why it's not eligible yet.
Alholm thinks part of the reason why COVID isn't on the compensation list is simply how it rolled out as a countermeasure to a pandemic.
The other thing is that like it contains like a lot of words that freak people out, like COVID, vaccine, tax, pharma, So I think part of it is just that everyone's just I feel like everyone's just kind of like, it's in the corner over there and nobody wants to really, go over and open that door, and they're afraid of what might come out.
So if I would have gotten this injury while getting a flu shot, I would have been able to seek compensation. And at this point, my out-of-pocket costs are over $14,000.
As Lori undergoes expensive surgeries, plasma and cortisone injections, she's also pushing to raise awareness about SIRVA, especially for medical professionals. She's working to get COVID and other vaccines like shingles on the injury compensation list. And she wants it to be a requirement that there are landmarking posters hanging where vaccines are administered that teach more than where to properly inject.
On those landmarking posters, talk about the severity if you get this wrong, because people in the helping professional are wonderful people. Would never purposely harm everyone. We just need them to know that needs to go into the deltoid.
Lori says, and the federal government agrees, SIRVA is 100% avoidable.
And quite honestly, a couple weeks ago, I think was my roughest because it hit me. I may never get better.
To try and prevent SIRVA, Alholm recommends both the patient and the person administering the vaccine both sit or both stand to make sure the needle isn't coming in too high or too low. Meanwhile, to get COVID or any vaccine on the list does in fact take an act of Congress. There is a bill that was introduced a couple of years ago in the House but never gained any traction. A spokesperson for Representative Ilhan Omar said she would support a bill like that. Senator Amy Klobuchar's spokesperson told Lori Schlosser she would keep her comments in mind should that bill be reintroduced. In the newsroom, Karen Sculln, Fox 9.